what is extremely important for us as DG Education and Culture is, of course, that education and training is really at the heart of this of Europe 2020. I mean, you see it in the document as such, in the text, but then also, of course, in particular, if you look at this, how they are called, the flagship initiatives, I mean, and there I think we can have very strong links to at least 3 of them. One is the Innovation Union, so where it's really, and I mean, it goes beyond education, but I think education is definitely a very important element in it, to see how education, and we believe, for example, the cooperation there, these universities, but also, I mean, on the school sector, on the vet sector, between the education sector and the world of work, how this can contribute, what can we do more in order to stimulate innovation. So we are going to develop this. The other is, of course, the initiative which is called Youth on the Move. And the third one is the link to the new skills, or this, new skills for new jobs initiative, or the agenda. So I mean, these are the 3 major, I mean, initiatives within Europe 2020 where education and training is fully integrated. And I think this is, of course, also where we will try to push then our agenda. Now, what, of course, in the future will be extremely interesting to see is to what extent also the, how to say, I mean, the funding will follow. Because, I mean, you know, at I think the moment that the situation in Europe is quite difficult, there will be discussions starting about the financial perspectives. And of course, I mean, it will be important to see for us if the importance given on one side to education and training in Europe 2020, and then if on the other side also the funding will follow, or if we will stay, you know, in the current framework. I think this will be an important message also for us. Now about and I think also on the flagship initiatives, perhaps we can discuss it later, so I will not read this or re-describe or re-detail what is written in the presentations, in the messages. What I wanted to remember is also the strategy Education and Training 2020, and what is, of course, interesting is there that we had, how to say, we were faster than Europe 2020. So we had already proposed this document, the Education Training 2020, in 2009. Where we said, okay, we had the Education Training 2010, and then of course we proposed this new strategy to see, okay, how to go forward until 2020. Now we will also have to see to what extent we will need to readapt this Education Training 2020 strategy as we have now the Europe 2020 identified. And I think also for Europe 2020 what is interesting, that just last week also the European Council, I mean, has adopted it. Because of course, as you know, I mean, there was a proposal from the Commission, and then it has been discussed with the Council, and there have been some changes have been done, but now it has been adopted also by the European Council. Important there is, of course, I mean, there will be now discussions, you know, within European 2020, there are some benchmarks identified, and I think the big change to the past is that we say now on each national level, or each national level should specify its own target, because of course the situations are different in Europe. And this is, I mean, where some of the member states first, they did not agree, but I think now after discussions this has developed. So of course we will now look forward to what extent, I mean, the member states will come forward and present then their own targets within this Europe 2020 strategy, and then the Commission will follow it up. Now for education and training, I mean, there, if you have seen, I mean, we had identified 4 major priorities, and I think you could easily link them, I think, and also make them, how to say, coherent with the European 2020 strategy. But I mean, there we will have to see if certain adaptations are necessary. But I mean, and this is the sort of political framework we are working in. Now, what is important also is that at the moment in the Commission, we are working on a number of, how to say, documents also, so it's mainly Commission either communications or recommendations. And therein, I mean, probably one of the most important one is, of course, this whole discussion about innovation. And there the lead is with DG Research, but in cooperation with a number of other Directorate Generals, and there to come up with a sort of innovation plan. Yeah, so to have something, a coherent approach And this is something at the moment where we are quite, heavily involved. And what we want to ensure is that education is present. Because, there's always the move that as soon as you speak about innovation, that it goes only to the research side. Yeah, there's too much focus. This is now, my belief, and I think the belief of, and the opinion of DG Education and Culture, that we think that as soon as we start to discuss about innovation, that the focus on the research side is too strong. And so we want to ensure and to try to really defend that we definitely need also to have a strong education component in this. Because this is also, I think, some of the learnings we did in the forums, is that there's a lot of innovation happening, particular innovation in SMEs, which is not necessarily to research. So I think this is I think we want to defend. The other thing is, and this is where DG EAC and also in cooperation with DG Employment is on the, let's say, the leading seat, which is the communication on youth on the move. And there, of course, one thing is very much about mobility, mobility of young people, mainly for learning. But at the moment, there are also discussions ongoing to how to open this up. Because, of course, there are, and even we are a little worried that if there is too strong focus on youth on the move, as it says, that we might lose this whole approach to lifelong learning, what we would not like. So I think there, of course, we will have to see how to find the right balance. And the third one is the agenda for the New Skills for Jobs initiative, or the flagship initiative. And there also DG EAC together with DG Employment is working there on the communication to say, okay, how we can then concretely go forward, make a proposal to the Parliament and also to the Council, and then see how together we can identify some concrete actions. And of course, all this, I think, should allow us, on one side, to get more concrete, but also to clarify also a number of lines for our future programs. And something interesting, and there you might be aware of, there's of course also at the moment DG Regio, who is in charge of the structural funds. They are also preparing a communication and also trying to see to what extent they need to, let's say, adapt or to make coherent the cohesion policy now with Europe 2020. And this is also something where there are several Directorate General services in the Commission are involved in. And then the idea is also to come up with a Commission communication probably September, October. So there will be quite intense, I think, work ongoing in the summer now in order to come up with these proposals by the September, October. So I think, as you see, there is really, I think at the moment, quite certain things ongoing. Now, if we go a little to more concrete things. On the university business side, and there are some of you, they are quite well aware what is ongoing. This is something which we are closely related to the modernization of higher education, so the modernization agenda, the communication which has been put forward by the Commission in 2006, where there have been identified 9 different fields where action should be taken. And then if you look at them, there are, of course, one very concrete says, okay, we should increase or try to develop more partnerships between these two worlds. But on the other side, there are also a number of other topics identified in this communication where we think if we can get these worlds closer together, we can have a positive impact.